morning, VBHS, and happy Friday.
We hope you've had a great week.
Here's your Pointer Pack News, episode 105.
Congratulations to Van Buren Theater Thespian Troupe 7448 for receiving Gold Honor Troupe this year. This is the highest honor each troupe can receive for their year of work.
Maddie Cochran, Hadley Gilmore, and Faith Curitin won State Champion Superior in Group Musical. Also, all three won State Champion Superior in their solo musical.
They'll be receiving state rings for their accomplishments, and they were also selected to present their performances live at the AAA State Festival.
Horn Theater, congratulations to our state runner-ups with excellence.
Aster Hinton and Macy Duro on their duet musical. Sydney Laura for her solo musical. Shayla Arter for her costume construction.
Kara Rush for lighting design.
The Tech Challenge team won 6th place overall in the state.
Great job, Van Buren Theater Department at state.
Welcome back to sports. Baseball went 4-0 in the PBR tournament last week and had their first home game yesterday versus Northside.
Softball is 2-0 in the season so far. They hosted Northside Monday and play in the Heritage Tournament today and tomorrow.
Track did great at the Van Buren Running Festival last week.
Aubrey Willie placed second in the 800-meter run.
The girls 4x100 and 4x200 relay teams placed first.
The girls 4x800 relay team placed third.
Chris Russell placed second in the 200-meter dash.
Parker Brown placed third in the 800-meter run.
Neil Megan placed third in the 3,200-meter run.
The boys 4x100 relay team placed second, and the 4x200 team placed first.
Lastly, the boys 4x800 relay team placed third.
There's a track meet today at Alma, so show up and support the team.
Boys soccer is currently 3-0 and the girls are 4-0.
Soccer hosted Northside Tuesday and also hosts Greenbrier today.
Now on to world news.
See you next week.
Here are a few world news for your week. We'll start off with the Russian recap.
As of last week, Russia's biggest gains were made in the south. Russia has continued to attack major cities, creating a humanitarian crisis. More than 1 million people have fled since the war has begun 2 weeks ago.
Ukraine has powerful allies, but those allies are not sending troops, partly because they are worried about starting a larger war with a nuclear-armed Russia, but also because of what Mr. Yermak stated.
Mr. Yermak is head of the Presidential Office of Ukraine. Here is a direct quote from his recent op-ed piece for the New York Times. I am writing this appeal from a bunker in the capital with President Volodymyr Zelensky by my side. For a week, Russian bombs have fallen overhead. Despite the constant barrage of Russian fire, we stand firm and united in our resolve to defeat the invaders. We will fight to the last breath to protect our country.
Ukraine is not asking for its allies to put boots on the ground, but we need the West to back us up in order to keep defending our families and our land. We need to show Russia, in painful terms, the mistake it has made.
This is Moscow's way of war. Mr. Putin's forces will continue to terrorize the country to induce surrender. If they don't succeed, they will burn it all down. It's either bow or vanish. No third option is allowed.
Standing with us today and helping us is the only way to achieve peace for all and ensure that history does not repeat itself, so that our future does not echo Europe's darkest times.
We could keep quoting the entire thing, it's an excellent piece, but instead we'll post the link in our description and encourage you to read it for yourselves.
Scientists are beginning to understand how COVID kills our sense of smell. Here's a little science lesson. The virus does not infect nerve cells that detect odors, researchers have found. Instead, it attacks nearby supporting cells. The infected cells and viruses die, while the immune cells flood the region to fight the virus. The subsequent inflammation wreaks havoc on smell receptors and proteins on the surface of the nerve cells in the nose that detect and transmit information about odors.
Crazy, huh?
More for our science folks. 3 tons of space junk is about to hit the moon today.
Most experts think the rubble came from a Chinese launch about 10 years ago. China has denied this claim.
We won't know the extent of the damage for a few weeks, since the impact will just happen out of the view of telescopes. But what we do know is that the junk will hit the far side of the moon around 7:30 a.m. at 5,800 miles per hour, make a 33 to 66 foot hole, and give Neil deGrasse Tyson something to say.
Okay, so here's a little backstory.
There's a House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Claims are that Donald Trump could potentially be charged with criminal violations, including obstructing an official proceeding of the Congress and conspiracy to defraud the American people.
But the January 6th committee said that there was evidence to conclude that Donald Trump may have committed crimes to try to stay in office.
We have more on this story posted below.
More in the U.S.
Governor Ken Reynolds signed a legislation Thursday prohibiting transgender women and girls from competing in female sports offered in Iowa schools, colleges, and universities. A new law that legal experts expect to end up in court.
Reynolds said that the law is a fairness issue because of what she said are athletic advantages for transgender girls.
Her signature puts Iowa among 10 other Republican-led states that passed the law restricting transgender athletes in recent years.
First it was Facebook, or Meta, or whatever. Now it's TikTok. 8 state attorneys general, who clearly get their recipes elsewhere, are launching an investigation into TikTok and its potential to physical and mental harm on young users. The announcement comes less than a day after President Biden urged lawmakers to hold social media firms accountable for the experiment they're conducting on our children for profit.
World leaders met last Wednesday to draft an agreement to reduce plastic pollution.
Though in early stages, the treaty has already been hailed as the most significant environmental multilateral deal since the Paris Accord by UN Environment Program Executive Director Inger Andersen.
So what is all on the table? Make packaging more sustainable, ramp up recycling. Only 9% of plastic has ever been recycled per the UN Environment Program.
Do something about microplastics, the insidious little plastic pieces that sneak into water. Limit the overall production of plastic. About 11 million tons of plastic waste washes into bodies of water annually, and the UNEP estimates that'll triple by 2040. Produced from fossil fuels, plastics are a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions.
Oil prices have spiked to their highest level since 2008 this past week after the U.S. said that it was discussing a potential ban on Russian supplies and its European allies. Payment companies such as Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal are suspending their services in Russia, while American Express said that its globally issued credit cards will no longer work in Russia and Belarus. While these moves further Russia's financial isolation from the West, it may also push the country closer to Beijing. Some Russian banks are looking into using China's yuan currency as an alternative.
Hey y'all, let's talk about your weekend weather. Here in VB, we've experienced just about every season this week, which will continue on into the weekend. As of today, conditions are constantly changing, but you can expect precipitation of some sort throughout the day. It will be getting colder as the day goes on, along with almost 20-mile-per-hour winds. Tomorrow it looks like sunshine with a high of 46 and a slight breeze. It'll be warming up significantly going into Sunday with highs in the 60s and a little cloud coverage. Prepare for a beautiful week next week. Now heading on to world weather. I'm sure you've heard bits and pieces of what's going on in Iowa. After an EF1 tornado hit in Benton County, 7 residents, 4 of which were in the same family, were killed and dozens left without homes. Meanwhile, in New York, residents, particularly in the immigrant communities, are still struggling with costs from Storm Ida that hit back in 2021. Language barriers amongst a multitude of financial troubles fight against progress in New York. We will certainly keep our fellow Americans across the nation in our minds as the climate continues to take its course. Before I go, I would love to leave you with a little bit of positivity and a fact of the day. Did you know that when you see a double rainbow in the sky, the colors of the top rainbow are in reverse order? Alright, that's it for me, guys. Have a great weekend.
Make sure to check out the links below for a bigger scoop on these stories.
We'll see you next week. Until then,
Drink some water, wear your seatbelt, and tell somebody you love them.
Took you out in the pick up I saw from my father.